Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to the Teach Better Today morning show where the Teach Better team gets to go live every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern to kick off your morning. We have a special guest joining our show who I know you're all familiar with because on previous episodes, we've been recommending her as a follow and recommending her book. I know a lot of you have already commented that you picked it up. So we're going to try not to only focus on how great the book is and actually get to know more things. But as we get in here, feel free to share your hellos in the comments. Tell us where you're listening from. And also, we'd love to know what platform you are most listening to the Teach Better like Today show. I know you can go to Teach Better Talk podcast. You can watch on YouTube or Facebook, but we always love to see those comments. So we'll be right back. Hey everyone, good morning. Lainie is with us. Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm better now that I get to talk to you, Rae. So I cannot think of a better way to start the day than with Rae. I did not mean to rhyme. That just came out.
You say that, but we always joke that the Teach Better Today morning show should be a part of people's routines. And then I try to not be on the show too much because too much of one person is a lot. Like trying to throw in different guests. That's why I'm very glad you're here. I know our community is going to be so excited to hear a different voice, a different educator, some different insights.
I'm happy to be here, and I don't think there's such a thing as too much Rae, but I'll take what I get.
You're the best. Lainie, for some new members of our Teach Better family who may not yet be connected to you, I'd love for us to start out with you just sharing a little bit about what you do and who you are. I know that most of our community knows you already, but who knows? Maybe you'll pick up a new educator connection today.
I'd love to make some new connections. I'm always looking to grow my network. And so, yes, Lainie Rowell. I am in my 26th year as an educator, and I've done all the roles. Well, not all of them, but a lot of the roles from classroom teacher to district leader. And I am currently a full-time author, keynote speaker, and it's just a great joy that I get to be, connecting with you, Rae, and the Teach Better family is very near and dear to my heart. There's so many people in that community, and I mean, I could spend the whole time talking about how much I love the Teach Better team, and in particular, I have to give a shout out, obviously, to you, Rae, and to Josh Stamper, who is one of the contributors to Evolving with Gratitude. So,
I know I'm excited to dive into the book as we kind of get in our discussion because, I mean, I'm not trying to be. I make a lot of dramatic statements. Like as a person, I just love to be a little bit dramatic, make things funnier. I fully mean with all seriousness and integrity, your book and you as a person comes up more than anyone else as a follow and as a book to pick up. And I don't say that lightly because I'm connected to a lot of people. I know you are too. And everybody has like their go-to people that seem to come up. You have like blown up over the last few years of people loving your content and loving connecting with you. So every time I'm able to have a conversation, especially if it's recorded like in a format like this, I love sharing you with our community who haven't yet connected to the type of work you do because it's clearly resonating with people.
that is so much goodness to take in, Rae. I mean, like, I'm so glad this is being recorded. I'm going to play it over and over again, like when I'm having a bad day.
Like before bed every night.
I'm just going to have it on my phone, like bookmarked. So it's like, today was a rough day. Let's have Rae give me a pep talk.
I do not say it lightly. Like I know that there's just so funny. I'll connect with someone random who I, like randomly came up as a follow on social media and I'd be like, oh, who have you learned from? What's a book you like to pick up? And they're like, do you know Lainie Rowell? I'm like, yes, everyone knows her and everyone follows her.
That is just wow. Okay, I'm blushing now. But I just want to say, I I'm gonna take that in and I'm gonna appreciate it. And I'm gonna say that one of the smartest things I did with that book was having the contributors, right? And that's the beautiful thing about evolving with gratitude is I'm there talking about why I think gratitude is important, why the science says that gratitude is important. It's like this ancient wisdom supported by science. But what I think really resonates with people, and I'm so grateful that I did this, is I gave a platform for 20 educators to share their stories of what gratitude looks like with kids, peers in the world. And because a book is finite, and I really wanted voices like yours, Rae, that's why I started the Evolving with Gratitude podcast. And that's why I'm like, Rae, you have to come on. I need to hear your thoughts here. And so that's why I really hope people check out the podcast. And if you're interested in being a guest, let me know. I'm always looking to hear about stories of, what is gratitude looking like in your life, both personally and professionally. So
Well, and I know like we're going to get into more discussion, tips and tricks for those of you who are looking to incorporate gratitude in your life. But like truly, as I got started with this concept of gratitude, I was a little bit I was a little bit of a skeptic. I thought it was a little fluffy for my taste. And I was like, yeah. I'm grateful. I'm reflective. Like I can name 100 things I'm grateful for in my life, but I don't really get why this is like this up and coming practice. It seemed like it was a buzzword. Everyone was talking about it. You are the one that helped me see that it's not just a fluffy, hey, share your love for others, share your love, see the good things in the world, because of your dedication to bringing other stories and to get into the sciences. It's not just something where it's like, Lainie, I'm going to be better at telling people that I appreciate them, but it's really an intentional act that can enact change. I would love for you to speak more on that.
yeah, so it's kind of I want people to know that I didn't come to this like, oh, my whole life I've understood how important and how deep gratitude is. This is not like, I'm not a lifer. I am actually someone who came to it during the pandemic. And I just want to give full credit to my parents. They're truly grateful. And I believe that they did everything they could to raise a grateful individual. But I will be honest that I don't think that I was, especially in certain seasons of my life, living gratefully. And now that I have come to understand the depth of gratitude, which is changing, like evolving in me every day, hence the name Evolving with Gratitude, I'm constantly learning new depths to it, nuance, how it affects other people. That's why I keep having these conversations. And it's just so profound. It's like these little practices that have a profound impact. And that's what's been really lovely to see. And when I have people on the podcast, and you can see it in the stories in the book, it's like they're telling you these like little things. Dwight might be talking about how he has these thank you cards in his desk. And when he's having a really tough day, he reaches in. That's his self-care. And that's Dwight Carter. And that's just one of the many stories. So I could go on for hours, but
yeah, I'd love to get into some of those practices. And I really want to speak to those educators listening, whether they'll be listening on Teach Better Talk podcast or they're watching us on YouTube or Facebook or wherever else you guys are enjoying this content. I'd really like to speak to those educators that haven't yet gotten into any gratitude practices, only because I think sometimes once you're in the world, you see how many resources and how many people have been impacted by this. Before you like officially open the door and walk in, I don't know that it always connects with people and why they should get started and how to get started if they're interested. So we'll be right back. We're going to get into our team talk and get into those suggestions. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Teach Better Today morning show. We're getting into our team talk. If you're just popping in now, Lainie was about to share with us some resources and how to get started in practicing gratitude. And I loved the example earlier of, using gratitude as an element of self-care, keeping those thank you cards in your desk. I mean, as an educator, I know when I was in the classroom, I loved being able to reach for those note cards, put a student label with their address on it, write those up and just feel like I at least accomplished something good today. I know there's so many more acts that we can get started with to continue to implement that in our lives. So Lainey, I'd love for us to kick it off there.
Yeah, and let me first just offer a framework, if I could. Doctor Who song out of University of North Carolina. They've done the research and they offer the framework of notice, think, feel, do. So one thing I hope people take away whenever I share about gratitude, whether I'm doing a convocation or a keynote or on the podcast, is there is no one way to do this. How you do it, it might be through a journal, it might be doing thank you cards, it might be through meditation. And, there's a whole journal that we put out, Bold Gratitude, with all the different practices. Sorry to shameless plug, sneak that in. But
No, not a shameless plug. It is a really good resource that not just you plug. I'm telling you, if you had never mentioned it, other guests I have on shows and podcasts plug it all the time.
well, it was so lovely getting to do Evolving with Gratitude. And again, those stories are so powerful. And someone recently shared with me that she keeps Evolving with Gratitude by her bedside so she can read the stories at night. And I'm like, yay, I hope you liked what I write. But yay, the stories are like that's the headline, is these stories are so heartwarming. And you can actually have this reaction to hearing someone else's story and feel the gratitude yourself, even though it's someone else's story. So you have this like vicarious experience. So Dr. Hussein came up with the notice, think, feel, do. And so to really look around, because we live very distracted lives, it's very easy to not notice. And I know, Rae, that you have a gratitude practice and that you're noticing and you're intentionally doing that, right? You do that all the time.
Yeah, sure. Every day. I'm trying to get better, trying to get better.
Well, let me give you some grace and some permission, because actually the experts do say you don't need to do it every day. If you were doing it a
Oh,
few days a week, you're in great shape.
okay. See, I think the issue that I have with this is I don't give myself credit for things that I do that are completely in line with this intentionality, but I don't like acknowledge that that is actually the purpose and what I gain from it. So that's why I too am excited every time I talk to you. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do that. I take care of myself."
Yes, and if you're doing, self-affirmations, if you're those are an act of gratitude to yourself, and there is no reason to believe that gratitude has to mean we're self-effacing. The world's leading science of gratitude expert, Dr. Emmons, he has all these myths that he likes to dispel, and one of them is that. And so we can be grateful for ourselves, we can be grateful for those immediately around us, and we can be grateful for those that we come in contact as strangers, the checker at the store who's extra thoughtful and shares some wisdom. There's so many people that do the things. So the notice, think, feel, do, that's what I would say is, like, if you want to get into like UDL language, that's kind of the firm goal. We want to notice, we want to think deeply. Why did these things come to us? Who do I owe gratitude to? A lot of times it's external sources, but it can be ourselves. What are the feelings? And really just trying to develop that emotional granularity. Try and name the feelings as much as you can, going beyond just the happy, sad. What are specifically, I highly recommend, I don't know if I did that the last time you and I talked, but I highly recommend the How We Feel app. You can go to howwefeel.org. It's free. I know you're nodding, so you've seen this before, right?
I totally know this app. Yes. And I actually know because I have it on my phone and used to use it consistently. And I'm like, okay, wait, I could go back to that.
Yeah. So the notice, think, feel, and then what we really want to make sure to do that last step, which is do. And so what can we put out into the world, out into those who are around us? It's going to improve our well-being, it's going to nurture relationships, it's going to make the world a better place. And specifically in our learning communities, it actually activates learning. So you can think about, how can I do a gratitude practice maybe as a welcoming inclusion activity? And so there's a ton of different ways. These can be 2 to 3 minute activities, really, really tiny ones. Like I said, like the reason the bold gratitude journal exists is because that book, again, Evolving with Gratitude, is finite, right? So it's like, this is why you should do it. Here's the science behind it. I do share some practices in Evolving with Gratitude, but I really kept that sacred space for the stories from the other educators. And then I was like, okay, there's so many practices. I got to put them in I got to put them in a journal that's really different, because I really feel like a lot of people tap out because they're like, okay, I don't want to do a 3 things every day. Don't have to do a 3 things. There's counterfactual thinking there, which is also known as mental subtraction. There's all these different things. And Rae, if you want, I'll flip through the journal and just pick a random one.
I would love that. Please, let's do an eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Pick it. Pick it. Pick it.
Okay, hold on. So this is also for me, I do like a scrapbooking thing. And so I have lots of like pretty, I know not everyone is seeing this, but like I've actually like taken things out of like a scrapbooker would, and I try and make it pretty.
I
So
love
that one's
it.
actually the self-care challenge one. And can you give yourself some me time, indulge, little gifts. The other one that I happened to pop onto was top drawer quality time. And it's where you list some of the VIPs in your life and then be really intentional on how can you give them some quality time in a way that would be meaningful to them.
Oh my God. Okay, see, that's a perfect example of one that I'm like, that sounds like something I'm so excited to do, and I feel like I would get so much joy out of. It's not just for me. It's not just like, okay, check the box. I listed 3 things, but that is like a challenge that now is something I can accomplish. So I feel accomplished during the day. I'm serving others, and these are people I truly care about. And it's an acknowledgement and a reflection of who really hits that list to make sure that I'm also allocating my time in a way that involves them in my world as frequently as possible. I love that example. Great one. Great one.
And you said checklist, and so we put, so I keep saying we because so I wrote it, but it's beautiful because of Allison Liu, who is a lifelong best friend and a creative, who I said, well, if I do this, you have to make it pretty. And so
Yeah.
we were very intentional to give it lots of blank space so you could be creative if you want to. But she was very clear, like we're putting check marks throughout so people can feel that sense of accomplishment, like you were just talking about. I'm a nerd for check boxes. Like, oh my, check something off the list. I'm beyond happy. It's a little much.
Oh yeah, I'm that pathetic person. Like I keep a physical to-do list every single day, every single morning. And I just rewrote mine. So feel free to ooh and ah at the fact that it's a whole blank side over there. But I literally will write it just to cross it off and give myself the check mark.
I feel so seen right now, Rae. But
Right?
and I think
Anyone else throw in the comments if you're that person.
if you love that sense of accomplishment of checking something off the list, whether it's digitally or on paper, I think there's nothing like it. So I really appreciate that. And I think that's a good practice. To me, that's like you're setting your intentions for the day or the week or however. To me, that's very, very thoughtful. I
Lainie,
love it.
this is why I need you more frequently in my life, is because I hear these buzzwords, even just like setting your intention for the day. Like I picture if I'm doing that properly, I'm sitting in a full-on yoga like suit in a meditative studio, like humming about how I'm going to like set my intentions for the day. Versus, you're right, this totally counts. And I love hearing that these are practices I'm doing because they do serve me well. They do make me feel good. And that consistency is really important. And I'm telling you, Lainie, this is why everyone recommends you as a follow. This is why everyone loves your resources, is because you take these ideas that seem a little like far-fetched and you make them practical for educators that are living busy lives and want to get as much out of their day, but also feel like they're being pulled 500 different like directions. And I so appreciate that about you.
Well, and I mean all the feels here. So this is one of the best parts about gratitude, right? I'm feeling it, you're feeling it. Like we're in our little gratitude bubble here, loving life. And yeah, I really want people to when you know, and I know that you know the power of gratitude, Rae, and I hope that you give yourself the permission to accept all of these wonderful things you do as gratitude practices, because a lot of people will do things that I would call a gratitude practice, and it doesn't necessarily occur to them that it's a gratitude practice. But I think it's such a big space, this world of gratitude, that a lot of it fits into that.
I love it. Hey, Lainie, before we wrap up our show this morning and send people off on an amazing day ahead, I would love for you to challenge our community, if you can, with something that they can think on, chew on, maybe take action with, that allows them to be a little bit better for the rest of their day. Any thoughts on what we can challenge them with?
I would suggest to do a public display of gratitude. Now, think about your recipient, because pick someone who would actually like a public display of gratitude. Some people actually don't. It's I find that most people do, but I still want to be careful about this. So, if you can do a tweet, sharing your story on Instagram, on Facebook, you could do it through social media. You could do it in a staff meeting, but just find some way to acknowledge someone for something great that they're doing that is positively impacting you. And one of the best things about gratitude, which I could list a million things, it's also contagious. So when you do that, it's going to positively impact your personal life and that group, but also your learning communities.
So good. Lainie, before we head out and we're still processing that challenge, I would love to make sure everyone knows how to stay connected to you. I know you have a website that has everything and anything, but I also want them to follow you on social. So maybe share those resources without a doubt.
Well, I would really love for people to connect with me, especially, I want to hear everything that's going well in your life, any challenges that I can maybe help solve, or even if you just want me to listen, I'm up for that too. So LainieRowell.com across the web. So it's not .com, excuse me, Lainie Rowell across the web. So it's LainieRowell.com. It's at Lainie Rowell on Insta, which is honestly where I spend most of the time, but I do also spend a lot of time on Twitter at Lainie Rowell. And then, those are the two big ones. And then I'm also LainieRowell@gmail.com. So just shoot me an email if you want, but I would love to connect. I am such a fan of this community and so honored to be a part of it.
Love it. And friends, always remember, for anybody on the show, team members, Teach Better family members, anything, if you ever have a problem connecting with them, finding resources, locating their books, or finding their websites, feel free to reach out to me or anyone else on the Teach Better team, and we'll make sure to send that your way. These are wonderful people. We want to make sure that we make it as easy as possible for you to continue to be better each and every day. We hope you have an incredible rest of your morning into the afternoon, and we'll see you on our next Teach Better Today morning show. Bye, friends.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Teach Better community. Thank you so much for joining the Teach Better Today morning show every single weekday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have so many resources for you outside of this live stream at teachbetter.com, including blogs, podcasts, and professional development that will bring our team to your school. Wherever you are listening from this morning, please make sure you are sharing and celebrating the incredible educators in this world. And hey, if you are listening over on a podcast to Teach Better Talk, we would love a 5-star review. The comments are always so entertaining. We'll see you tomorrow.